Okay, so in this part of the series, we are going to talk about how connection parenting is similar to and varies from the 4 common styles of parenting. So let me first explain what the 4 common styles of parenting are, and then we will make comparisons and distinguish the differences. So one common style of parenting is called permissive parenting. That is where you can do whatever you want. This is parents that are often overwhelmed, or they are fearful of losing their child's love if they put boundaries in place, or if they take corrective action, or it's just loosey-goosey. So there is a very low demand, very low expectations, and very low engagement. It's just whatever, do whatever, do whatever, do whatever, and not in a passive way, but again, in a fearful way. Then there is the uninvolved parent. That is someone who is incredibly overwhelmed. Oftentimes there are also some addictions that come along with that, or some mental health issues that come along with that, where the parents are just completely overwhelmed and they really don't even pay attention to the child. It's as though the parent or the child doesn't exist, that there really is not a parental relationship whatsoever. The kids are just off doing their own thing, often fending for themselves. Very low demand, very low expectations. There's then the opposite of that, which is the authoritarian style of parenting, where it is my way or the highway, rules, kids are meant to be seen and not heard. Many people were raised in that style from the 60s and 70s. So it's a much more demanding, much more expectations are high, not a lot of engagement, not two-way engagement. It's a very one-way, my way or the highway, one direction kind of communication style. And then there is the authoritarian, which is much more engagement. Let's talk about this, let's figure out what works, let's come up with a solution, much more engaging. And that is what we would consider to be probably the most common parenting style in this day and age. Connection parenting is most similar to the authoritarian style in that there is ongoing engagement. Where it differs, you're engaging the child in conversation. Let's talk about this, let's figure this out. Where that it's different is with that style of parenting, it's often the parent's expectations. You meet my standards, you meet my expectations. Whereas in connection parenting, it really is a collaboration. So yeah, I'm not saying that this is permissive and you let the kid go all loosey-goosey and let them do whatever they want. No, there are still expectations. The children understand what the expectations are. We know what those age-appropriate expectations are and hold the kids to that level, but they may need different boundaries in order to get there. And we engage in conversations if the boundaries are broken, or if rules are broken, or things go awry, or when there are failures or mistakes, and when there are successes, you talk about it and you figure out, oh, okay, that worked well, let's do that again. Or let's see if we can even take that to the next level. Or that didn't go so well, or that boundary was broken. Let's figure out what happened. Was it something that so-and-so said that made you do something? Were you tired or hungry? Because again, it's age appropriate. So this style of parenting grows as your children grow. The way in which we communicate and dialogue with our kids changes. But don't think that just because your kid is 2 or 3 years old, you can't have this conversation with them or these types of conversations with them. You would be amazed, and I think you probably are, with how in tune your child is, but also the way that they can evolve and the way that their thought process actually works. And as you have more conversations with them, you do get to understand more about how their thought processes work. And so that helps when it comes time to allow them to be a bit more independent. You can see how they make decisions, what kind of goes on through their brains. When you see their eyes going and you see the wheels spinning in the head, you know a bit more about what's going on. Once their needs are also met, or they're able to articulate their needs to you on a more consistent basis because you've had that open dialogue, you've taught them words, you've taught them how to connect to their needs and wants and emotions and their fears about, why I did things the way that I did. That's emotional intelligence, and that is what helps to set the kids apart that don't have connection parenting. It gives them a further step into maturity, and so in that ability to be independent, which is what we're really trying to do anyway, is to raise our kids to be independent in due time, not pushing them out the door. Those kids that do have connection parenting have higher self-esteem, they're more resilient, they are more able and likely to form bonds with the right kinds of people that are good for them, not people that are going to be diminishing them or bullying them or making them do things that they know that they don't want to do, because they are learning who they are as humans. So that's why connection parenting is so important. That's why I am so passionate about it. And that's why I want to get the word out to as many people as possible so that we as parents can live a bit more free and comfortable and not in the fear and not in the control. And our kids can then flourish. And we have fun because we're collaborating, because we're connected parents.